All right, what up? What up? Okay, glad y'all can join me. We're gonna make this quick 'cause I'm finishing my night. But I talked about earlier today, like how Trump fired everybody from the FBI, and I got the note. I got the idea. Me too lazy to see on the screen. It's very interesting, and it makes a lot of sense about what they're saying. Because we always wonder, why did he fire the FBI like that? Oh, let me start this video. And this kind of explains a little bit of one of the reasons why he could have fired the FBI, and it makes a lot of sense, y'all. This is really, really, it's I don't know. I even know what to say about it, man. Trump is on a whole different level with this one. So check it out, y'all, and then y'all tell me what y'all think.
Period. They absolutely do not care about human beings. They prioritize and quantify which lives are important and which lives are not important. They lie and say they're all about freedom and democracy for everybody, and they're bringing great brand of democracy around the world. It's all bullshit. The main things they have in common is that they both are criminals, and they will do everything in their power to cling on to power so that they do not face accountability. Timothy Snyder, who you all know I've interviewed on iHip News, is a scholar, and he has a post on Substack that will send a chill down your spine. Pop this up. A purpose of the war on Iran might well be to provoke a terrorist attack inside the United States. This would provide Donald Trump with a pretext to try to cancel or, quote, federalize the coming congressional elections. And the title of his piece is The Desire for Terror. So you guys have probably heard a lot about false flag attacks. And we all have to be on alert that when wars are very unpopular like this, there can be a domestic attack. A lot of theories being floated in intelligence right now. I have on the record from a source that they are very, very concerned that the attacks are going to come in the form of cyber attacks. And these cyber attacks will be a false flag operation where it looks like, and the American intelligence under Trump's regime can say, oh, this is the Iranians. They have cyber attacked the United States, and they have the voting machines. Therefore, we are rendering them unsafe, and we must federalize the elections. Donald Trump is building that ballroom. He has the SAVE Act as a top priority of his, the gerrymandering debacles, the nonstop talk of the third term. This is a man who will not leave that Oval Office. He is going to do everything in his power to stay there. These false flag attacks are coming, and they will, in my opinion, and I have a source in Washington, they are very, very concerned that this is Trump's next step and his way to federalize the elections, AKA when he federalizes them, you guys, he cheats.
You're still in my head. So now all you have to do is go to Automate.
Sorry about that. That's crazy, y'all.
Still in my head, and I can't wait no longer.
That's crazy what she's talking about. And this could very well happen. I could definitely see this happening because he's gonna try to steal the elections no matter what, and he has to do it in a way to where everybody not gonna get upset about it. And I think this is one of the ways. If he even starting the war, he got a lot of support from MAGA that he was losing, so it helped him out that way. If it's a terror attack, you remember how it was against Bush, and then you had the 9/11, and it brought a whole bunch of support for Bush. It's the same thing. He feel like if it's going to be a terror attack, then it's going to bring a lot of attention, a lot more support to him. So we're going to finish watching the rest of it because this is very interesting.
Well, and he cheats no matter what. And to your point about him not leaving, when I look at, let's assume that the midterms go forward. He will then and for his do that. remove him office. All of this, it is no Kevin to try to make sure he continues to be in power. It's full tilt on the war. And I go back to the Zelensky Oval Office meeting when he's like, well, if you're at war, you don't have elections. And all of this revolves around his continued desire to stay in power. And I don't see how we get him out, even if we did vote to get him out.
All right. So when these things happen, when these wars happen, and then typically a healthy government, a transparent government would have intelligence really amped up to prevent cyber attacks, to prevent domestic terror attacks on American soil, not in the Trump regime. And you may remember this article from last week. Kash Patel guts counterintelligence. Kash Patel gutted FBI counterintelligence team before tasked with tracking Iranian threats days before U.S. strikes, sources say. So basically, they want no apparatus to keep American citizens safe. I want to say that again. The Trump regime is eliminating any apparatus that will provide for prevention and public safety while the country is engaged in an illegal war. Why? We know from scholars who study autocrats, they have disdain for their supporters. MAGA supporters are just transactional to Donald Trump. They aren't even really humans to him. He doesn't understand the plight of American people. He has said very demeaning and degrading things about the troops. When he visited a World War II cemetery, he famously said, why would they do it? I was just like, why would you do this? I don't get it. They're like losers and suckers to get injured or killed. We all know how he treated John McCain. And the interesting dichotomy of this to me is in Republican circles, they're really hyped up on patriotism and supporting the troops. It's like a huge part of their identity. And you have this president who, after Trump 1.0, all of the people that worked around him came out of that administration and said, this guy's like Hitler. This guy's a full-blown fascist. This guy doesn't have any respect for the United States military. This guy's an idiot. Rex Tillerson called him an absolute idiot. And these people are right-wing neocons. These are people that are probably cheering this Iranian war on. But when they spent time with him inside the White House, they came out of that and thought, Jesus Christ, this guy is a dangerous idiot. And so we have this dangerous idiot that at every turn dismantles anything good or protective about the United States government.
In my mind, with all of these, what's going on with Trump, I think that he is actually cheering for an attack on the United States for a twofold reason. The midterms, yes, but also then it would gen support. If there was an attack on U.S. soil, it would gen support among Americans for this war. Do I believe that he would allow this type of thing to go on so that he could gen support for himself and keep himself in office? Absolutely. If Americans die, too fucking bad. And just a reminder, remember way back when Trump 2.0 got started, they appointed a 22-year-old to be in charge with no experience, to be in charge of the domestic terrorism threats in the United States. And I just want to say, it goes to the theory that these terror threats and attacks in the United States are not going to be thwarted, yet are being sponsored by the United States government, in my opinion.
I don't think there's any question. I mean, there's a theory that Benjamin Netanyahu funded Hamas and he wanted to stay in power and let the border, where the Hamas terrorists went over into Israel, that he let that lapse. There is a lot of this type of thing that happens. And there's no question that we should all be at the edge of our seat because he's got to do something here. And Benjamin Netanyahu could give a shit about the rule of law. Donald Trump could give a shit about the rule of law. Everybody that went to work for Donald Trump doesn't give a shit about the rule of law. And I will even go this far. Everybody that voted for him doesn't give a shit about the rule of law. He's a convicted felon. Everybody knows he's a convicted felon, a liar, and a con man, but they willfully voted for him for, various reasons, racism or money. And this is a political party, a political movement of depravity, of absolute depravity. And Mark Elias, you all may know him. He is the premier election lawyer in the United States of America. Pop this up.
Editing your podcast on Riverside is a no-brainer, and I want to show you why. Your podcast transcript is here, and you just have to...
Breaking, President Donald Trump declared Sunday that he will not sign any other legislation until Congress passes the Save America Act, dramatically escalating his campaign to force the voter suppression bill through the Senate. He says he will not sign any other bills. So this is where I get so frustrated with Democrats. And you think, Jennifer, why are you talking about Democrats right now? That article was about Donald Trump being a dick. Well, here's where I'm going to tell you guys. Do you see the fight he puts up? I'm not doing jack shit until y'all pass this. And he forces it. That type of tenacity is what the Democrats need to have as an opposition. We're not showing up for work. We're not signing shit until we get everybody on the record on this war. Every single person. But we don't do it. Democrats don't fight that way because so many of them are compromised and they're paid, controlled opposition, or we have the rotating villain strategy, which always seems to work out to make sure the Republican Party gets the votes that they need. And when I see headlines like that, I think, I wish the Democrats had that kind of gangsta in them. I wish that they would say, we're not doing jack shit. We're not funding the terrorist organization, ICE. We're not funding the terrorist country, Israel. We're not funding shit. We're not doing any of this shit. It's all anti-American. It's all illegal. It's all, unconstitutional, but they don't do it. So let's see what the opposition party is going to do about all this stuff. Let's see what the minority leader does. The head of the nominal opposition party in the House, not ruling out further bankrolling Trump's Iran bloodbath, is an objectively pro-war position. And this is Adam Johnson talking about Hakeem Jeffries. He goes on to say his limp process criticisms about Trump, quote, not making his case mean nothing if he doesn't oppose more funding. And NBC News reports, the headline says, Hakeem Jeffries won't commit to blocking additional Iran war funding. Well, I wonder why that is. I wonder why Minority Leader Jeffries will not commit to that. And I'll tell you exactly why. We know exactly why. Hakeem Jeffries is bought and paid for. And people in the House, we've had Democrats on, are really skeptical of criticizing him. And this is,
Let's stop it there. Y'all leave your comments. Let me know what y'all think.